Well, I think I'm never drinking Bud Light ever again. But here to weigh in with the latest controversy to break it all down, Turning Point USA contributor and 2018 Winter Olympian Anthony Watson. Anthony, thanks for being with us. It's great to see you.
Allison, thanks for having me on. Always a pleasure.
Thank you. Well, first off, I have to ask, will you be drinking Bud Light now that Trump wants us to give them a second chance?
No, absolutely not. If Trump was promoting it, endorsing it, or sponsored by it, I wouldn't drink it. I'm not a beer drinker. Bud Light to me kind of smells like if Rice Krispies or Cheerios was a liquid flavored beverage. So I'm not really into it. It's never been my thing and never will be my thing. So I'm all good in that department.
Touche. I'm with you there. I'm not much of a beer drinker myself, but even if I was, I can say I would never even consider Bud Light. But I have to ask you, Anthony, are you sure? Because Caitlyn Jenner, does support Trump's call to drop the protest against Bud Light, which I think is pretty ironic, seeing as the whole reason the controversy began was due to, the company pushing transgenderism. Am I right?
Well, leave it to Caitlyn, Bruce, whatever he wants to call himself these days, to now be an advocate for Bud Light. Go ahead, the company that made it possible for Dylan Mulvaney. Now you have another transgender saying, oh, yeah, just, just forget about it and just give it a second chance. This is what's happening here. Everyone right now is faced to look at themselves in the mirror to actually find out if they're doing things because of the choices that they want or because they idolize and put these people in godlike complexes in their livelihood that they just follow blindly without any kind of question to the morality that it changes them to do in their personal lives. Because you see a bunch of people that when they saw something they didn't like, you witnessed it, the greatest boycott in anything that literally took Anheuser-Busch out of games, out of stadiums, out of concerts, out of circulation for a little while. And now everyone is kind of, because they've got Dana White. Dana White's a very outspoken Trump supporter than Donald Trump. And now it's making everyone be like, well, maybe it isn't too bad. But I ask everyone to look a little further. It's just like, if you're someone that's just blindly following somebody just because you support them, at the end of the day, it's just like, look, I love Donald Trump and I will never say a bad thing about my honest opinion, the greatest president in my lifetime. But at the same time, it's just like, I tell everyone the reason me and Donald Trump will never be equals or, like-minded in a lot of things is because after his presidency, he goes back to being a multi-billionaire and I'm just living my regular day life. So it's just like, for the good that he caused here, I'm not blindly following him or anybody else into these things that I know goes against my conscience, my conviction, and what I know to be true.
Amen to that. Now, in addition to all the UFC stuff we just talked about, Bud Light also just announced their new partnership with a comedian named Shane Gillis following the Dylan Mulvaney fiasco. So it seems like they are actively and really desperately working to go back to actually appeal to the vast majority of Americans. Hopefully they learned their lesson there and we, see some improvement if we do give them perhaps a second chance and they redeem themselves. But, it's not just Bud Light that's learning that America ultimately hates woke, right? Apparently it's the Super Bowl too, because as is being reported by Breitbart, there will be fewer commercials promoting woke politics as advertisers try to avoid alienating consumers who are being completely overrun by Bidenomics. But let's not forget the Super Bowl did also announce they are still doing 2 national anthems. So obviously they don't actually really care about uniting the nation, do they?
No, definitely not. At the end of the day, it's just like you have a bunch of grown men that are still complaining about a systemic racist government that doesn't exist when you have a majority of athletes now. If you're in the NFL and you are considered Caucasian, you either have a rocket arm or you're just a freak athlete now because you have more African-American men that have made multi-millions of dollars in a league that, edifies them for their athletic ability. And so when it comes to everybody else now, they know that woke doesn't work because they've seen it, they've tried it, they tried to force it on us, they tried to do it under the radar, they tried to change the name, tried to change the terminology. So now they're just like, you know what, we're just going to just can it and then not do it. And hopefully next we get rid of this stupid black national anthem because America isn't black and white. We're a melting pot of culture everywhere else. You look at Sweden, you can automatically get a gauge of what the people there look like. China, you get a gauge of what the people there look like. Other countries, you get a gauge of what the people there look like. In America, you can't put a face to it, can't put a gender to it, can't put an ideology to it because it's all about results of what the individual wants to get out by what they put in.